potentially be one of the most decisive elections in U.S. history.
It'll be a huge election to just decide the future of the country.
Young voters are often portrayed as being politically uninterested and apathetic. But this time around tells a different story. CBS's Mola Linghi, I should say, joins us now with more on that. And so, Mola, what kind of turnout do we expect from young voters this year?
Well, good morning, Russ. Right now we're seeing registration in record numbers. Passions are high, interest is high among youth voters. Just in speaking to them, they'll tell you that the stakes are high, that democracy is on the ballot. They use those sort of phrases. They admit that it is a critical midterm election. The sort of rhetoric, the kind of language that you don't really hear from young people going into a midterm election. But we're already seeing youth registration at presidential election year level. So youth interest is high. That's translating into registration. But the key question is whether that's going to translate into turnout on Election Day, Russ.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mola, what are the concerns that seem to be motivating young voters to maybe want to get out and head to the polls?
Well, yeah, it's a host of issues that's really stirring enthusiasm. Everything from immigration to the Trump administration's child separation policies, rising cost of education, the economy, obviously, a big factor. The strong economy, a lot of young conservatives, a lot of, actually Democrats as well, want to see a continuation of this strong economy. But really, the stirring issue, the thing that's really stirring a lot of young people is the gun debate. The ongoing gun debate, especially among young Democrats, young progressives who want to see some sort of gun reform legislation. It's also an issue with young conservatives who are, out there talking about gun rights. But if you're splitting between Democrats and Republicans, the young Republicans seem to be more focused on the economy. Young Democrats, really a motivating issue is this ongoing gun debate. We've seen passions high, marches and protests across the country, especially in the aftermath of the Parkland shooting recently. That has really stirred a lot of emotion among young Democrats. And then obviously there's also the President Trump factor. Obviously, as we know, he is a galvanizing figure, whether you love him or hate him. And so he is also motivating young voters to get out to this midterm election and vote. Russ?
All right, Mola, we will see how it translates at the polls here in a couple of weeks. Mola Linghi, live for us this morning.